Hello, my name is Jacob Irigoyen and I am the Campus Program Manager for our HVAC program here. And I will be taking you on a tour today through our prerequisite room to see our electrical and refrigeration components. Here we have our electrical boards that our students will be working on, where you will find all of your common parts that will be in the field, such as relays and contactors, transformers, thermostats, and fans. It's very important, fundamental that the students work on these parts, and so that way they get a proper understanding of what they will be seeing on their everyday experience outside of the HVAC or out into the field. Right here we have relays which will control the electricity that allows certain devices to come on. The power passing devices, they learn the difference between power consuming devices as well as power passing devices. That way that they know the proper troubleshooting methods when they get to the field. Here we have wiring for a thermostat where the students will see the different series and the circuitry involved in between a heating or a cooling call, and that way when they're in the field they could troubleshoot and work on these units. And now I'd like to show you the refrigeration unit. This is one of our refrigeration trainers where the students learn their 4 primary components as well as a lot of other components, but we like to get their students on a strong understanding of the primary components, because these components will repeat themselves in other applications and other equipment. So they get a strong understanding of their compressor and why it moves the refrigerant through the system and adds heat to it. And this trainer is designed so that they could see it under different environments. Here we have a condenser coil where our hot refrigerant will travel through the top and work its way down and should turn into a liquid. And we could adjust the fan speed so that they could see how that differs and changes. We have the 3 common metering devices or expansion valves that they will see out in the field, and it's important that they get to study all 3 types that way, so when they're in the field and they encounter a different type of metering device, that they're accommodated and they know about it. And we also have our evaporator fans here so that they can see how our refrigerant travels from the metering device and has its state changed through our evaporator coil, and therefore we could change the temperature and the speed of that coil with the fan speeds. And here we have our tool bag layout of what the students will receive to ensure that they're field ready by the day they graduate. This is important because a lot of the industries or a lot of the jobs that they will be receiving are going to require that they have their own tools. So we make sure our students are taken care of on the front end of all their basic hand tools. They receive a power drill, they will receive gauges to read and monitor the refrigerant in a system. So when they graduate, they'll be ready to start working and hit the ground running. Here we are in the advanced lab where the students will work on commercial equipment. They also learn how the equipment will be installed. The students also will learn how to troubleshoot on these. We simulate problems. A lot of times on equipment like this, the components and the parts inside the system are a lot harder to find, or they vary a lot differently than residential systems. So we like to take these units from out of the field. We bring them back to our shop and we will open them up, take components out, and we kind of collect and swap components and see different types of units. Here we have a residential split system. The students will learn how to troubleshoot, install, and service this equipment. The students actually themselves have put this up on the cart, whether that's sealing, running the pipe connections and brazing all the lines closed, installing the components and insulating all the lines and the cabinets. This is all done by the students. This unit here has numerous amounts of components which the students will learn to troubleshoot and use their meters on, so that they're field ready when they leave here. They'll be familiar with the similar components in other systems. Here inside this unit is actually a furnace, so they learn how an induced draft 90% furnace actually operates and its sequence of operation. They get to use all their big tool instruments such as manometers and voltmeters to troubleshoot and test and survey the operation and monitor this unit to make sure that it's running properly and efficiently. As well as with the outdoor unit, where they will run into multiple troubleshooting scenarios where we could simulate issues with the units. We could hardwire components to fail so that the students have to search and find the necessary means to fix the unit and have it back and operational. We also teach the students how to install the disconnect, how to make the wire connections, and its weather-approved tubing so that the install is up to code and industry regulations. So they do get to see top-of-the-line equipment operating at its best, and we could simulate issues where they could see the unit ramp up or ramp down to accommodate for issues that could occur in the comforted space. And now I would like to share with you a bit of our industrial side, where the students learn about the industrial equipment and the different applications that it is used in. Here we have a simulator unit where we could simulate lots of troubleshooting or operating conditions, where the students will learn how to operate and install the compressors for these systems, also how to monitor the refrigerant inside of these systems. They will learn about all the different components, such as their oil separator here, where they get to see the simple routing that is in the field not so simple, a lot of times hidden, but this unit is kind of brought to the surface so that they see it and can take a proper understanding of how each of these components work. Where they can easily follow the refrigeration cycle. Here we have the two main types of condenser coils that they will find out in the field, whether it's a tube in a tube coil or a shell in a tube coil. Students get familiar with the two types of condensers and could also simulate between what condenser they want to use by using these valves to turn the system on and off. They also work with water regulating valves and will learn the proper requirement for gallons per minute to be flowing through their condenser coils to make their heat exchange rate adequate. They will then follow their refrigeration cycle through. They learn how to diagnose solenoid valves that could open and close depending on demand for different applications, because a lot of times these systems will work with multiple evaporators or very large evaporators. So we may require that certain fans turn off at certain times, and that's what these solenoid valves will control, whether the refrigerant flows to a unit that is calling for it to be on or a unit that needs it off. We also have our defrost timers that the students get to troubleshoot and operate on, so they could see when the unit goes into defrost. They understand the sequence of operation and how that occurs and how the hot gas will spill into the evaporator and then therefore melt the ice off. Students also learn how to connect gauges on these systems, and they can monitor the pressures as they simulate less water flow or more water flow or fans off and on or parts malfunctioning, and they could see the common symptoms that occur with these units. So after a few months in the course, our students should now be familiar with the refrigeration system and what refrigerant is. So then they could apply to take their Universal 608 license test, which will allow them to handle, transport, and work on refrigeration systems with the refrigerant in the system. They also then take a test for their 410A specialty license, as well as a preventive maintenance certificate. And here we have, the multiple types of refrigerants that they will work on and the gauges that go along with these certifications, which a lot of times in the field will really be a boost and a help to any technician coming into this industry. So this is a great opportunity for any student that is looking to put some hard work and elbow grease in a trade where they could work with their hands and use their technical skills to troubleshoot, service, and install numerous types of equipment. They could have all types of doors to open, whether they want to work on residential, commercial, or industrial systems. They could really take their expertise that they learn here with their electrical, mechanical, and refrigeration knowledge and put forth a great effort out there to help us in the industry make a difference in the world.